Okay, hello everyone. How are you doing this lovely evening? Um I'm just leaving here the prereqs slide for a while now, just while I set everything up over here. But we should be able to get started right now. My name is Lucas. I will be your presenter today. I will be. Oh, I just jumped a few slides. I will be your host today. I'm talking from right now it's late in the evening in São Paulo. So I'm talking straight from Brazil. Today we're going to be learning how to create a website in Azure. Okay. So if you haven't already, just go to the Learn website. I think the moderators have already sent out over this link to you. So you should be here in the chat somewhere. Go there, create your account, and make sure you're set up. Okay, just there's not much prereqs to do this. Okay, so let's go over to the agenda. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna welcome you to this huge event. I hope you are feeling excited to learn about how we can create a website using Azure. Okay, and using Azure technology. Then we are going to be introducing just me and all the other moderators. Then I'm going to explain what is a Learn module, what is Microsoft Learn, what can we do to make your learning easier. And then we're going to go and deep dive into the Learn module. We're going to create a website in Azure. If you haven't already, click on the link. And I don't know if we can click this link, but probably this link will be on the chat as well. Just click on it or go to it and get set up. And then we are going to be going to questions. We're now be going to answer everything you have to ask. Okay. So next up, my name is Lucas, as I already said. I am talking from São Paulo, Brazil. I am a cloud advocate here at Microsoft, and I will be joining you today to teach you how we can create a website in Azure. Okay. Along with me today, there will be a ton of other awesome people. Glossia is here to moderate. Glenn is here to moderate. Jen is here to moderate as well. Terrence is here to moderate as well. You can direct your questions straight to them in the chat. They're going to be answering everything, and they're going to be ready for everything you might want to know. Okay, and they're going to be solving all your problems while you're here. Okay, because I'm going to be focusing on this session. Right, so let's do some housekeeping. This session will be recorded. You will be able to see it again on the website, on the Learn TV website, I believe. If you have any questions, if you have any doubts, just use the chat window. Don't be shy. You can ask any question you like and do whatever you want. The moderators are here to answer all your questions privately or publicly. So if it's a general question, it will be answered to everyone so we can help everyone at the same time. Cool. Then we do have a code of conduct. It's very important for me to show you this. If you haven't already, read the code of conduct in the Microsoft Build website. It's over there. It's just this easy and this simple. This way we can guarantee everyone is included and no one is harassed in this event. Okay, so this is one of the most important parts. Be sure to be already read this content. So let's go on into this Learn module. Go on into aka.ms/learn/intro Azure. Okay, I will be just closing this right now, and Gio will be joining me right now in the Learn website. Okay, you will be taken to this website right here. But before I join the Learn module, I want to let you all know what is Microsoft Learn and how you can take your advantage to it. Okay, let me just have a simple disclaimer. This this session will be better more efficiently done if you have like two screens. You can follow me up on one screen and you can do the Learn module on the other screen, or half and half. You can split your screen. If you don't have a screen, or if you don't want to, just split the screen, I will be trying to describe as best as I can, so you can just follow on with the sweet sound of my voice. Okay, So let's go. Once you get on the Learn module, you will be presented with Microsoft Learn. If you haven't already heard what is Microsoft Learn, Microsoft Learn is a free website where you can learn everything about Microsoft technology. So we do have like a lot of things here. This is the homepage of the website. So the introduction to Azure is just one path you can go through. There's a lot of other paths. You can go like for Azure accounts, cloud concepts. There is securities. There is Microsoft 365. There is fundamentals, and there is a lot of other stuff you can learn here in the Microsoft Learn. Everything is for free. Okay, so we have Learn modules for Azure like this. So this is a learning path. We have like hands-on learning. We have this is all free. Okay. Let me go on there. We have Dynamics 365, Microsoft 365, and Power Platform, and all other paths. Okay, so let's just go on to this path, which is part of the Azure Fundamentals path. So you're going to be going through first. If you're going to complete the whole section, you're going to be going to Cloud Concepts, Principles of Cloud Computing. Then you're going to be led to create an Azure account, and then you're going to be going to Introduction to Azure. Okay, so let's get on and get started. First of all, we need to just click Introduction here. Let's start. I have already completed this module, so I already earned a experience point. So this is the other thing that's cool about Learn, because you can learn a lot, and you can actually do this while gaming. So this is a gamified platform where you can show your badges to all your friends and put this on LinkedIn and put this on other platforms just as well. Okay, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice to learn this way. So on the first part, we're going to be talking about a lot of buzzwords, like you have already heard about, like scale, elasticity, microservices, and a lot of these buzzwords. But in this module, we're going to be covering why and how you should be doing this. Okay, so by the end of this module, you will be able to create a simple website and control it via command line on Azure. Okay, so this is going to be pretty simple, and this is going to be straightforward. And you will have like not much, like 3 lines of configuration to do. So it's pretty simple and it's pretty okay. Fine. So let's go on, click continue. Let's go to the second part. What is Azure in general? So when you have a time, just whoops, I just went back a page. So you have a time when we finish this little module, go on and watch this awesome video by Christina. It shows how is Azure defined and what is Azure in general. Then you can understand better how Azure works under the hood. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly explain everything over here. What is cloud computing? What is Azure in general? So Azure is a service provided by Microsoft. You have already heard like from other providers that is cloud computing. So basically Azure is a full-sized data center where you can store and you can use its services to power your apps on your backend or your front end or whatever service you're going to need, right? So Azure is basically a huge deposit and a huge storage of services that you can use and you can leverage to make your applications better. And you don't have to be focusing on managing infrastructure, because infrastructure will be managed by Microsoft itself and will be managed by true experts on infrastructure that is going to provide you with security and is going to provide you with a lot of other performance stuff and a lot of things that you will not be able to do it on an efficient time. So in today's world, everything is based on time. So the more efficient you are, the more success you have, because the faster you can do the stuff, and then you can make use of your time a little better. Okay, so despite having this huge advantages of didn't have to worry about infrastructure at all and didn't have to worry about security and everything else. Everything is managed to you. Why should you move to the cloud? Okay, so there's a few things that we should be having in mind. Back in the day, we had like on-premises services that you had to, contact people to make sure you had like a machine working and everything working on. So you can like pay up front, so you can have a cloud server where you can just put your websites and you can just make them work. But it's all by yourself. It's all by your hand. Today, we have a more seamless experience where you can just request a server, and this is going to be created to you in not hours, but minutes, maybe seconds. All right. So that's pretty cool. That's one of the features. Azure has almost like it says here, a nearly limitless pool of raw compute power. So you can use this power to power your apps. You can use the storage to power your apps. You can use like networking components. Everything is safely stored on non-disclosed data center locations. Okay, so it's perfectly safe and it's perfectly fine and it's fast. So you're going to be using like a lot of compute power, and you're going to be very efficient on a daily basis. So it's going to be changing your life, right? On the other side, there's like several other more complex services like cognitive services, text-to-speech, text recognition, OCR, and a lot of other things that is already built into Azure, where you just can like click and use. There's nothing you need to configure, nothing you need to develop to do this, okay? Analytics by default, so you can have everything monitored and everything paid by the use. This is another advantage that Azure has, actually cloud providers have over the on-premises part. So instead of just paying upfront everything you're going to use, you're going to have to, make a huge investment on something that might, just don't go right. On cloud providers like Azure, you pay by the use. So this is a subscription called Pay As You Go. And this is something that we can leverage to reduce the costs and make everything very, very cheap to work with. So you're just going to pay by everything you're going to use. So if you have like an application that works from 9 to 5 and you don't care what happens after 5 or before 9, you're just going to be paying idle computing on on-premises services. But on cloud providers like Azure, you can just delete or can just stop this application. You are not going to be billed by this because you're not using. So you will not pay for idle computing. Put this in mind because this is a game changer, right? So let's go through a tour of the Azure services. Azure is not only compute, it's not only websites. You can do like a lot of stuff on Azure. There is just this cool video where you can find out more about what is Azure. As an overall picture, I'm going to be opening this image because I find this image a lot cooler than explaining everything, just reading the text. But this is indeed Azure. So we have data center infrastructure like here, all managed. You don't have to worry about these. So this doesn't actually appear to you. You don't have any contact with this, but you have contact with these. So besides having compute power like virtual machines, whoops, I zoomed in too a bit, like virtual machines and Kubernetes clusters, you also have a lot of other integrations like security and management for Azure Portal, we're going to be seeing soon, Active Directory, multi-factor authentication, automation, Key Vault. You have a marketplace we're going to be using, and we have actually all cloud providers have a REST API and a CLI. This means that you can automate stuff right out of the box, right? So we have a CLI that we are going to be using on the Learn module, and you can automate everything with scripts and everything else. So it's easy as that. Also, we have like storage and media and CDN, media services, media analytics, integrations, API management, and compute services like container services, VM, scale sets, a lot of other stuff for developer services. We have mobile platforms, mobile apps, cloud services, notification hubs to notify all platforms, databases, which is different from storages. We have SQL databases, Cosmos DB, which is a multi-paradigm database, very cool to use. Redis cache, bots. This is the intelligence part. It's very cool. Bot services, cognitive services, analytics and IoT. Well, a lot of other stuff. And we also have like this hybrid cloud stuff, because huge companies, if you work on a huge company, you're not going to be seeing a sudden movement to the cloud. You're going to be seeing a gradual movement to the cloud because you have like a lot of stuff. So we understand that huge companies cannot always move everything to the cloud on the blink of an eye. So hybrid cloud is there to make it happen. You can have your data in your own data centers while you use the Azure infrastructure to provide services and provide security to this data. So you can use Active Directory to connect stuff. You can use domain services. You can use backups, monitors. You can import and export stuff, and you can use like a whole heap of things that you can do, right? So going on to this, we have like a lot of categories like compute, networking, storage, mobile, and so on. I just went through everything on this. This is the description of every service. I'm not going to be reading the site because this you can do it on your own, and it's not very fun to read the site. So I'm going just to explain this to you on my own way. We have like a lot of stuff. You can build a complete web application. You can build a complex web application. If you have used Microsoft Teams is built on Azure, so you can create stuff like that. Okay, so there's nothing more to be said. Right, so everything is scalable, everything is secured, and everything is accessible. These are the key stuff. So let's go down, down, and down, and we're gonna be clicking on the continue by the end of the chapter. And this is where I want to get to you. You can use the power of Azure to learn. So this learn module has a sandbox. You probably be seeing this today now. You have to sign in to activate your sandbox. I think I have already. I don't have signed in. I didn't sign in yet. So if you signed in, it's going to ask for our permissions. It's going to be review your permissions. Just click on review permissions, and if you have an Azure account, just accept it. It's going to be leading you back to the learn module with a sandbox activated. What is this sandbox stuff? The sandbox is a Azure Concierge subscription that expires after 4 hours. So you can use the limited capability, Azure on its limited capability, to create stuff to learn. So in this Unity and this module, we're going to be able to create app services, which are a Azure service, to create pre-built websites to actually spin up a WordPress instance and make it work, right? So we can use the power of Azure right here and right now. So you can actually create like a lot of other stuff over there. You cannot mine Bitcoin because we made sure that this is not possible. We have like a limited scope, so don't try to do it. But you will be able to learn with the power of Azure by doing things, which I think it's great because this is the best way to learn. So basically, what we're going to do, we're going to create an app service. The app service is like a service. It's obviously a service that is an HTTP-based server that allows you to do like several things on several languages. Today, the languages that are supported are .NET Core, Java, Ruby, Node.js, PHP, and Python. You can do this running an app service, which is basically a VM on a Windows machine or a Linux machine. This is what we call the platform as a service, PaaS. This is pretty cool because you don't have to worry about infrastructure and you don't have to worry about where you're going to deploy this. You just have to worry about where you are going to develop stuff and how you are going to develop stuff. You have to focus on your business. This is what you do best, right? So we're going to be using a Linux-based environment to spin up a WordPress instance, which is a PHP application. So along with the WordPress instance, we're going to be spinning up a MySQL server inside the app service plan, right? So all this stuff comes from the Azure Marketplace. Right now, if you can accompany me, I'm going to be describing to you. You can go to portal.azure.com. Here in the portal, make sure you are on the Learn Concierge subscription. So you can go here on the top right corner below your email and make sure you have a Microsoft Learn Sandbox name here over here, right? Because this is going to be your subscription, and this is going to be free, right? So you're not going to be billed for anything over here. Microsoft Azure has a lot of services, like I told you. So you can just create stuff by coming into create resource. So let's go into click it. And this is the Azure Store. So if I put on like several other, I do have like a lot of categories here I can choose from. So I have databases, I have DevOps, I have identity, integration, and some of those things are in, you see, like preview. And these are the Azure Store applications that are already pre-built. So you can create like this VPN servers and access connector for Azure, and just on a click of a button, right? We're going to create a WordPress instance. So besides this, Azure has several data centers spread across the globe. So in the sandbox, you're going to be able to use any of these regions. So you have like West US, South Central US, Central US, East US, Western Europe, Southeast Asia, Japan East, here in Brazil, Brazil South, Australia Southeast, and Central India. So you can choose whichever is closest to you, right? Let's go to create a website. So let's pop up to the Microsoft Azure. I'm going back to the home right here. Let's search, or you can create a resource, whatever, and search for WordPress on the search box. Just click on the WordPress part over here, and you're going to see that this is a complete WordPress instance, completely built and ready to use, right? So just click create, and you'll be like prompted for the name and several other options. Let's go and create like MS build WP as app name. You're going to be using this concierge subscription, which is the only one you have. And the resource group, we're not going to create a new one because the Microsoft Learn Sandbox doesn't allow you to create a new resource group. So we're going to use an existing resource group, which should start with learn dash in a lot of numbers. So you're going to be using this. A resource group, just to be explaining stuff, a resource group is where you're going to group all your resources. So yeah, so this makes it easier for you to give permission and delete stuff. If you need like to delete several stuffs in a row, you can just group them all in a resource group, and you can just give permissions by groups or delete everything in a row. So this is very cool. On database provider, you're gonna choose MySQL in app, not Azure database for MySQL, because in this sandbox, you're not allowed to create other things than app services. So if you choose Azure database for MySQL, you're going to be creating a managed MySQL instance, which is not allowed. So you're going to be choosing MySQL in app. It's the second option. Then you're going to create, you're going to click on the app service plan location, which is this. And this is where things get interesting. You can see that I have an already created app service plan, but I'm going to create a new one. So create a new, let's name it again, MS build. Let's put on service plan, service dash plan, right? I'm going to choose a location. I'm going to choose Brazil South because it's nearest to me. It's actually in the same city. So I can make this work. So now we're going to be choosing the pricing tier. You can choose whatever region is closest to you, right? So don't be shy and choose the region that's on the Learn module, or the region I'm telling you to choose from. Just choose whatever region is closest to you, so it's going to be faster, right? Let's click on the pricing tier, and this is where things get very, very interesting. You have three pricing tiers. You have the dev test, we have the production, and we have the isolated. For production, this is pretty straightforward. For production workloads, this is paid. So you have like the S1 pricing tier, which has a total of 100 ACU. ACU is a Azure Compute Unit, which is a unit of measure for raw compute power on Azure. It's like cores. You have 1.75 gigabytes of memory, an A-series compute equivalent. This is the virtual machine or equivalent that's going to be used. If you go on to, this is just a demonstration, right? Let me open another thing over here. If you go on to virtual machines, you're going to be seeing that this is virtual machines. You can create a new one, and all the virtual machines have tiers, and these tiers are represented by names, right? So this is one of the sizes. This is just, yeah, so you can see like DS2, D2S, V3, and so on. Just to show you, and this is going to be costing 89.06 USD per month. This is an estimation, right? If you don't use it, you're going to be costing less. But you can just upgrade it for like P1 V2 or P1 V2, and you can see that included features and included hardware changes when we do this. So all the production tiered service plans have an autoscaler and custom domains and SSL, staging slots, daily backups, traffic managers, and in the hardware we have the ACUs, the Azure Compute Units that are included, memory, of course, and storage. So on the S1 we have 50 gigabytes of storage. On the P1 V2 we have 250, and so on. These are not the only four. We have like additional plans over here. So there are more powerful plans for more powerful applications, right? So you can just choose whatever you want when you're going to production, because you're not going to choose any of these. We have the isolated mode. The isolated is for advanced networking and scale. So this, you have like private app access. You can scale up to like several instances, scale up and scale horizontally from like duplicating applications, have Azure Compute Units, and so on, right? So you have like more storage, more memory, and more computing power. The one we are going to choose is the dev test. So if you go to the first tab on the left, you're going to be choosing dev test for less demanding workloads. This is exactly what it says it is. It's for development and testing before publishing an application. So the most important thing we're going to have to note here is that it has an F1 plan. The F1 plan has a shared infrastructure, so you're going to be using the infrastructure shared by everyone, 1 gigabyte of memory, and you can use it by 60 minutes per day, and it's completely free. So this is what we're going to be using, and actually we can use other service plans to develop. That doesn't limit us to be using for 60 minutes per day. So we have D1, B1, and we have like B2 and B3 just as well. You can see that it doesn't include like scale up in any other scaling options, SSL or custom domains, and anything else. But we're going to choose it anyway, right? So click apply and then click OK. You're going to be routed back to the first screen we saw, and everything is okay. If everything is okay, there shouldn't be any errors over here. So click create. It's going to be analyzing. So this name is not available. Let's choose like okay, let's just like Lucas WordPress. I think this should be available. So it's going to think for a while for validating. It's validating our deployment. It creates a deployment where you're going to be deploying stuff, and it's gone. So you can check out the deployment status on the bell icon on the top of the screen. You can see it's moving. The deployment's in progress. You can do whatever you want. It's not sync. You can just navigate through the portal and so on. And once it's done, there will be a deployment ready notification over here. It shouldn't take long, right? So I'm going to take this moment to talk about a little more about Azure and answer some questions. Let me see if we have questions here. So, okay, I think everything is okay here. So you can just take this moment to relax and do stuff. Cool. I think I have already created an app service plan over here, so I can show you. No, I don't. So let's interact here. What are you thinking? Do you have any other question? WordPress or WordPress for Linux? You can select any of them, but for this one, I'm sure you can select WordPress. So just select WordPress so we can just go on and you don't have any problems. Larry answered this one. Oh, Larry asked this one. Why is there a time limit for the dev plans? Well, I think this is due to increased demand. So in order to keep the services healthy, we have to limit the amount of computing power. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to provide a free computing power for everyone. Is 1 gigabyte sufficient to host an instance? Anonymous asked. Well, depends on the instance, what you're going to do. For WordPress, it's more than enough, I believe. But depending on the application you're going to be doing, it might not be enough. Calvin said, what DB option did you go with? I went with MySQL in-app, not the Azure MySQL option, okay? Choose the MySQL in-app, right? So as you can see, let's go back here. The deployment has succeeded. So let's see what have we done. Where is the deployment? Here, it's over here. So you can access through the button, like go to resource over here. You can go to the deployment, clicking in the link. If you open the notification icon over there. And you can also go there by accessing the resource groups, or it should be appearing on the recent resources you created on your home screen. So clicking on the app service here, we're going to be done with the stuff. So you can just like go down to the end of the page and click on the check your work back in the Learn module. You can see everything was created. Now I'm going to explain to you everything that happened here, everything we can do. You can see that we have like several configuration options on the left side. You can have quick start deployments, deployment slots, deployment centers. I'm not going to talk about this right now. The thing that I am worried about, the thing that I want to show you is the scale up and scale out. So let's imagine you have a huge blog that is started like a small blog and it's now growing. So you have to be able to scale that thing, right? But you choose one of the smallest plans. You don't have enough firepower to host everything that's coming to your blog. So let's imagine you can do this by scaling up. What is scaling up? Scaling up is when you take one of your service plans, one of your app services, and you scale that, you empower that even more. So you change your hardware to include more memory or more storage or more compute power. This means that you're going to be changing the tier on the app service plan, right? So that decision we made back on the first part when we chose the tier, it's not final. You can change this later. This means that you can be starting developing an application for free using the F1 tier. And then when you're ready to publish it, when it's small, you can choose like the D1 for custom domains and smallest websites. And if you're ready to host a production environment, you can just switch to an S1 or a P1 V2. And then things get real.
Sorry,
get everything.
I couldn't hear what you said.
Oh, my Siri just bumped up. And then you can just have everything you need for production environments, right? Well, so this is where you can change stuff, and this is where you can actually scale up everything. But let's imagine you have already scaled that up to the maximum amount you want. You don't want to be paying more, you don't want to be scaling everything up, you don't want to be adding more hardware to this. So you can scale out. Scale out is when you can it's not available for our resource because our pricing tier does not allow this. But scaling out means you can duplicate it. You can make it work side by side, and you can make this work seamlessly. And you have a load balancer that's going to balance all the load within every app service. So this is going to be working on a huge scale, on a massive scale, and you'll be able to serve all your customers and all your requests, right? Besides this, we have MySQL in app, which is the one we chose. You can see this is on. You can see all the locations. You can actually go into this place. There's the app service plan. We have quotas. We have all the memory usage, memory percentage data in. So we don't have anything right now, but everything should be on when we start using things. So let's see how our app service looks like. So if you go on the overview on the app service right here, you can see there is an URL option on the middle of the screen-ish. You can click it and open in the other in another tab, and then you see this is going to take a while in the first time you load it because it takes a while to spin up. It's called it's just starting, but you can see this is a WordPress website and everything is cool with this, right? So let's go back to our Learn module. Let's continue. If you haven't clicked on Check My Work, just click on Check My Work, then click Continue. We're gonna be using the sandbox we just configured the app. Everything is okay. So I just explained to you what is scaling, what are all the options. We can scale up, we can scale down, so we can just skip through this second part, this 5 exercise. And now we're going to be on another unit, the unit 6 of 8. This unit is called Exercise Access an App Service using Cloud Shell. So let me explain first what is Cloud Shell. We're used to have a terminal on our machines, and this terminal is the one responsible for creating and interacting with stuff, right? So basically, we have this on our machines, but sometimes when we're dealing with on-premises and distributed services, some things can go wrong on very weird times. So you won't be able to access your machine, you won't be able to access your terminal on a go. You won't be able to access your machine in that time in that specific place. So we have Cloud Shell. Cloud Shell is basically a web terminal that is linked to your Azure account. So you can access this by clicking on, in the unit, you're gonna be having one of the Cloud Shell on the right of your screen. So you can just use this one. But if you are on the portal, you can access this one by clicking on the blue ribbon on the top of the screen. 2 icons to the left of the notification icon, there is a terminal icon. If you click it, you're gonna be opening a Cloud Shell. So this Cloud Shell is going to be using, if you're on the production portal, you're going to be using either PowerShell or Bash. So we have chosen Bash for this workshop, and this is how you can interact with everything. So you can see that if I go back to the Learn module, I have the Azure CLI installed, right? So if I just click AZ is the Azure CLI, and we'll be able to manage all our resources by using the CLI. So let's clear this out and use the terminal to list all of our resource groups. So AZ group, this is the component we want, and the action list. So, oh my God, this is a JSON. So now, how can we make this easier to see? We can just put -o or -- output, and then put one of these table. You can see this is going to be pre-printed on a table. There is also a TSV with tab separated values, and we have JSON C, which is the JSON colored, which is cool. So let's use table for now. We're going to be just listing everything that we built. So this is the group we created. Actually, the Learn Sandbox created. We're going to be listing our account. So this is our account. So AZ account list -- output space table. So this is our concierge subscription that is enabled right now. We just listed all the groups. Cool. Now we're going to interact with our app service, right? So the first thing we need to know is the resource group. So AZ group list -- oh, only one -o table. Let's leave it here. AZ resource list, and then -- resource group, and then we're going to copy this resource group over here, and then resource -- resource type, will be Microsoft.web/sites, right? Whoops, I typed wrong. Resource with an C, right? So this is a C. So we have this one. Let's go to table where you can see this better. So this is our resource group, Lucas WordPress. The resource group is Learn. There's a lot of numbers. It's deployed in Brazil South, right? So let's interact with this. How can we stop this web app? So we can do like AZ web app stop, right? And then we put our resource group name, which is learn dash a lot of numbers, and the name. So the name I chose was Lucas WordPress, right? Yep, was Lucas WordPress. So Lucas WordPress in the name, and we do an enter, right? It should take a while because it's going to be, you know, moving on. Now on the portal, you can see that some things will change. If we go to the overview on the app service, you'll see that there is a stop button over here. So just let me refresh the screen, and you'll see that now it's the start button. Well, so now we stopped our application, right? Yeah, we stopped our application. If we go back to our WordPress URL, you will see that this is a 403 error because this web app is stopped, right? So we just stopped an application through the command line. We can do the same thing to start it over again. So just change stop to start and just hit enter. And when you do this and you go back to the portal and refresh the screen, it will be able to see that your app service was restarted again. If I go to the URL here on the WordPress, I don't think it's going to be showing something to me because it's going to be starting over again. But soon it will be showing something. So let's just wait a bit. So we're going to go through this. So, OK, WordPress has already been started over again. So we can, you know, just install the application, right? So just click continue. And now you'll be taken to a knowledge check. I won't be answering this one to you. This is up to you. And this is up to you to learn things, right? So you're going to be presented with like 3 questions, 3 very simple questions to just check your knowledge and consolidate your learning in this module. Not all Learn modules have one of those, but they are pretty cool to make your learning from this module to, you know, stay in your head and make things good. So learning, doing, and then checking, right? So I'm not going to check my answers, so I'm going to stop right here on this part. And I'm going to go back to my slides, right over here. So I stopped on this slide. And for now, this is what I wanted to show you. So you can continue learning this path or other learning path, any learning paths you want. You can finish the Azure Fundamentals learning path, which gives you all the resource needed to take on the AZ900 certification exam. This is the first certification for Azure, so it's pretty cool. Go on to aka.ms/learn/azure/fun, and you can go and continue this learning path. You can do other learning paths if you want. Just skill up, and you will be able to see your progression in the gamification channels. You can be able to see and share your badges with your friends and with your family. Please share your feedback on this session on the aka.ms/mybuildevals, right? So we can see and we can know how we're doing and how we can improve. And then you can return to your event, return to the build using mybuild.microsoft.com. And don't forget to go to the Learn TV. Learn has gained today a very, very big step forward. It has gained like a huge ally, which is Learn TV. It's a 24/7 Learn channel that's going to be broadcasting several awesome content. Just go into the launch celebration on May 21st. It's 8 a.m. on Pacific time. I don't know which time is going to be here in Brazil if you're Brazilian, but just visit aka.ms/learntv and see how awesome is this website, right, guys? So thanks, everyone, and I hope you like it, and I hope you can learn. Thanks a lot. Good night. Okay, so we have a bit longer of the session, so I can take some questions. I think I can take some questions right now. People are asking me if I can take some questions. Of course, I can take some questions. Let's answer some things over here. Let's see what people is questioning. WordPress asked me to install it. Yes, Stephen said this. We're just going to be stopping on the WordPress installation path. You don't need to go through the installation. If you want, you can. Just there's no way. Just follow on the instructions. But we're just going to be stopping here because just start and stop the application. But you can go and you can continue the learning path. You can go on and finish the installation if you want. Is there downtime associated with scaling up? There is a little downtime, yes, like the moderator said. Nice hands-on explanation, thank you. Karthik, thanks a lot. Yes, we are ended a few minutes early. This is why we are taking some questions, because we ended a few minutes early. Cool stuff. Thanks so much. I have now my badge. Congratulations, Juan. This is awesome. Okay. Do we have any more questions? If you want to ask something, I'm here. Just interact. Let me see. Let us know what you if you like this session, if you liked or not. Give us a feedback. And if you have any problems, just let us know. I'm here to answer your questions. Otherwise, oh, we have something over here. Thanks. Thank you all for coming, and thank you all for joining. Okay, so we're going to still having sections. In addition to MS Learn training course, what are other things we can do as beginner to learn Azure? Well, this is a great question, Anonymous. There's besides the Learn module, we have the Azure Docs, which are great. So you can go on to, I think it's docs, the Microsoft docs.azure.com. The moderators will go on to this right now. You can start learning by doing whatever you want to do. So think of like a project, a simple project you want to put over, you want to put in production, you want to test it. So you can go on to portal.azure.com, create your free account. You'll be gifted with some free credits. I don't know if it's like $150 or $300, but I think it's $150. And you can do whatever you want with these $150. And just make it happen. Try things over there. The Azure Docs are awesome. Take this project and see how you can do it on Azure, right? So for instance, you have a blog, a personal blog. Like me, I am trying to convert my blog. You can use Azure Static Web Apps, which has been announced today on preview. You can do it. It's on Azure. You can try it. You can use app services like these. You can use VMs, virtual machines. You can use Kubernetes, and you can try to do a lot of stuff. You can create your own database. You can use managed database instances. You can do whatever you like. But take a project and try to make it happen on Azure. You will only learn by doing things for yourself, right? There is no actually way you can learn on of course. You can do things, you can know things, but the best way to learn is to take what you have learned here and put it to work, right? Thanks. Thanks everyone who's saying thanks. When I create a WordPress service, you are currently setting to Microsoft Learn Sandbox directory, which does not have any subscriptions. You have other directories. You can switch or you can sign up for a new subscription. You're sure it's Jake. You're sure you're gonna creating you are creating an app service plan, because this sandbox doesn't allow you to create anything else. So probably you're hitting something like this, right? Yeah, Jason pointed out something very cool. This was my mistake, guys. I said use MS build /wp -wp, but the app name should be unique, so you have to use anything that you that's unique. So make sure things don't overlap with each other, right? The scale operation is not allowed. Yes, the scale operation is not allowed because on the F1 subscription, the F1 tier, you do not have scale up or scale out, right? The F1 subscription is only meant for development. So you only have 60 minutes of compute power. You're gonna have scale up or scale out on other subscriptions, production subscriptions. You can see everything, a list of all resources included on the bottom of the page, right? So there is included services and included hardware, right? So I think I can kind of show you this. Pavan, I can show you this, I believe. If you go to scale up you can, because you are able to change your tiers. So you can go over here and you only be able to see, you see there's no included anything, but on production there is included features, and these included features have auto scale. So auto scale is the scale out thing, right? How can I access MySQL in app and perform some queries? Well, on this app service in particular, I believe that the MySQL is inside the app service plan. So you're running local, right? You have to access it on a SSH. I think you can access on authorization right here. Oh, yeah. Whoops. You can do this on here. You click on console on development tools, and I think you'll be able to access MySQL. It's not installed over here, right? Oh my God, so I think you should be installing this, but you are going to be having a console application that you can have access over here. You can just go into the machine. This is a Windows machine, I believe. So if you have a bash, you have a Linux machine, you can go on the console, you can type in, you can install MySQL, and you can use the MySQL in app here in the left side, where you can use to access your local DB, right? How can you scale up? Let me see. How can you scale up an app service? You just go here on the left-hand side of the pane here on the app service plan. Go into settings section, scale up, and you click on this, right? And then when you click on this, you will see everything that you saw on the tier part of the Learn module. You will only be able to do on dev test and production for now, because isolated is not available for my configuration over here, but you can scale up to production tiered environments as well. I got another tooltip with the embedded terminal A+ where I could not type anymore. Now it seems back to normal. Sometimes Cloud Shell since Cloud Shell is based on browser. Okay, so Raphael asked if there is some glitch with Cloud Shell where he could type and then he could not. Sometimes the browser doesn't seem to respond correctly to text inside Cloud Shell, but this usually goes up very fast. So this usually fixes itself. You don't need to worry about. Custom URL when creating the resource. Can you assign a custom URL? Yes, you can assign a custom URL to it, because only not in the F1. It's been asked if I can assign a custom URL. Yes, you can assign one, but not on the F1, as you can see here. You can assign one on the D1 starting from D1, you have included features, which is custom domains. So you can assign this one on D1, on dev test, right? Scale up and scale out. I have, well, it's been answered already. Cool, great walkthrough, thanks a lot. If I make change to my WordPress site, how can I save my configs? I'm guessing this virtual server will be destroyed along with any configs I make. Yes, inside the Learn Sandbox, you will have this destroyed in 4 hours, right? So this is not a place for you to create production-like environments. Okay, so let me just go into the exercise again here. You will see that there is already a sandbox. I have 3 hours of sandbox left. This is not a place where you have to Anonymous, yeah, Anonymous asked. This is not a place where you can host your real websites. This is just a place to learn. Remember this. If you don't go back in 3 hours, or actually 4 hours, your whole environment will be destroyed along with your configuration on it, right? If you want to create a production, or you want to just make your website, go to portal.azure.com, create our account, and do exactly the same steps we did here, and just use the free tier. And then when you use the free tier, you won't have this time limitation. Just save your configuration inside the developer and production tier, and you will be able to save everything else, and you won't be destroyed. So this is just to learn, right, guys? But if you want to just make this outside of the sandbox, go to portal.azure.com like this, and you can create other stuff right here. There's no need for you to create a WordPress app service every time. You can add new web services and create them on demand, right? You can just click add on the app service. You can choose your resource group, choose your web app name, and you can publish like a code or a Docker container. So you have like a stack if you want to publish your application. You have Node.js stack, you have PHP stack, Python, Ruby, .NET, ASP.NET, ASP.NET, Java, Tomcat, and so on. But if you choose like a Docker container, you can be choosing like an operating system with Linux or Windows. Choose your region, and then you will be prompted. You will be able to choose here on next Docker. You will be able to choose the image source, like let's just choose like Docker Hub, and you can put any other image over here, and this image will be downloaded and published inside your application, right? So you have like quick start. You can just like do an Nginx sample. If you are going with the Azure Container Registry, this is not a subscription with CRs, so you can do this with private images. You can do it in your own registry, so this is cool. There's a lot of other options here. You don't need to be using WordPress, okay? Do I need a dev and a production Azure plan if I want a dev and a production environment? Well, yes, you do need one of those, because actually you're gonna be needing both, because if you want to be making changes into two things, you're gonna have to have you have to have two stuff. You have to have like an app service to make it production and app service to make it development, right? And they have different URLs and different paths, right? I suggest you take a look on a deployment slot or a staging slot, so you can test it before you publish it. This is a very cool feature too, right? Is there an advanced session as a continuation of this intro session? Well, I think there is, but I have to look. Please, if someone is already, yeah, you're gonna already being replied. People have already been looking into this. Cool. Nice. Okay, any other question? We still have, how many minutes do we still have? 15 minutes. So we still have 50 minutes for questions. Go on, ask out. It's very cool to answer things. While I do this, let's see if, well, I don't think I can actually come through all this, but let's see. Cool. So let's do that test, apply it again. Whoops. So there's a lot of other learning sessions that's going to be covering a lot of other aspects of Azure as well. So we have Power Apps, we have Power Platform, we have Visual Studio Code, we have Visual Studio. So this is just a tiny bit of Azure. This is just the introduction. You can go into other learn studio sessions where you'll be guided through all the other aspects of Azure. There's a lot of other stuff. There's a lot of other cool stuff you can see and you can do with Azure, right? So I'm gonna try to do something outside of the script. I hope no one actually kills me right here. Check the questions. Oh, there's a new question. What's been the most complex app you have built on Azure? Well, I have built some apps using distributed applications like AKS. So AKS is the Kubernetes service. I've built, this is actually pretty recent, an application that you could use to tag and classify animals from wild forest here in Brazil. So people went like on classification routines. They just saw several images, classified those images, and those images were sent to a server that were going to be analyzed by the Azure Compute Power using Python and other like several stuff. So this was one of the prettiest and coolest applications I have ever built. Wasn't actually one of the most complicated, but used a lot of Azure stuff. Also, I have built something using cognitive services, which is a very nice thing to make yourself feel like a lot of power, because you can do awesome things with just like a click of a button and something like this. It's very cool to see your texts and your OCRs running, and you just have to, call an API. So it's awesome. Can we try deploying another application in the remaining time? Well, I would try to deploy a Docker application. I don't know if you all know what Docker is. This is going to be explained in another session. I'm not going to explain everything here, but I am going to be searching for Docker Hub here. I'm going to deploy one of my own commands, my own applications. Let's see if I do have, this is an optional command, right? So let's just go over here, and I have a simple Node API. So let's try to, whoa, I just clicked it wrong. Let's put this image and tag over here and see how things work. So this is just one tag, so latest tag, monitoring, I don't want monitoring tags, I just review and create. Let's see if things go up. Nice. How do you configure the third-party domain name in Azure? Yeah, you can create a domain. Oh my God, what happened here? Linux workers are not available in the resource group. Oh my God, I don't have permissions to create this. Let's go here and use Windows. I don't have this, so let's just use WestUS, which is closer. Windows plan, let's just change the size. Oh my God, I don't have free. Damn. Okay, so I don't think we're gonna be deploying another application. Sorry, Anonymous. We will not be deploying another application over here, but this has been a very cool thing to do while we're doing this. Let's see if I can find another done stuff here on app service. Analytics, compute, CO. Cool. Let's see if I can make this. Well, I don't have Windows. Well, yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to deploy something else because most of these things run on Linux, and we're going to need to be like picking one up to make this work. So we're going to have to be working with WordPress for now. So once you, there is just this one, how do you configure a third-party domain name in Azure? You can purchase a domain over here, but you can actually change your DNS zones. So you can point out the I think it's the A or the C name record set to the Azure record, or you can just put the Azure record into your DNS zone. One of those things, I don't remember which one is right now, but you can do this and you can actually purchase a domain from here just as well. I think this is one of the features this one has. Let's see, custom domains, I think I don't have this one, yeah. So Anonymous asked, this is how you can manage. So this is the custom domain. I don't have I can't purchase a new app service domain. So this is where it should appear somewhere I can purchase the domain. I can do this HTTPS only. So all HTTP traffic will be redirected to HTTPS. This is the most secure operation. So basically you have the IP address. I think I can access this through an IP address. Yeah, I can't because is it started? Yeah, I can't because I think this is the main part, right? But you can see here all the requests we're making, all the average response time. This is a huge metric, right? Because this helps us to see which application is using, how our application are performing. And data we're going to be using. This is actually a huge bump because it downloads everything on the first run. Data out, so this data in, data out. We're going to transmit like 108 kilobytes. Requests, the number of requests we made, 12 requests. We have deployment centers. I don't think we're going to be able to see anything here. Yeah, so this is the things that we deployed here. Those Ssl settings. So we can turn on the SSL for this. I don't think we can turn on this right now, but you can turn on HTTPS. You can import your own certificate. You can import your own file or your own private key. Networking, web jobs, and so on. Five minutes left. Cool stuff happening. everyone. So let me just go on. Why don't I just go like on into Learn TV, aka.ms/Learn TV, aka.ms/Learn TV. Awesome. So this is Learn TV, everyone. I could just be clicking on the Learn module because I am on the actually the same site. This is the perks of not reading web pages. This is the Learn TV, everyone. So since we have only 5 minutes left, I don't think we'll be able to do a lot of stuff. But this is the Learn TV, everyone. So you can watch Microsoft Build through the Learn TV, and there is a lot of featured content. So there is a lot of already build on content. So this is the tutorial I said that's going to be up on Publish a Web App and API with Azure Static Web Apps. So this is the Learn module where you can deploy it fully. So this is cool. I suggest you to try it. This is some video. These are some videos. Modern Web UI with Blazor and WebAssembly. This is cool as well. First steps with Python. This is a course. 6 things to love from Xamarin Forms, and this are the feature content for now. So it's been launched on today. I think it's May 21st. Let me just check it out. So yeah, May 21st will be the launch celebration for the Learn TV. So be there, and it's very cool. We will be instructing any other courses tomorrow during build. No, unfortunately, I won't. Tomorrow I will be moderating for other sessions, but there will be a lot of other coolest people doing this Learn sessions. So I suggest you go there and see how these things go, because they are pretty awesome, and these sessions are going to be very, very cool. Yeah, May 21, 8 a.m. Pacific. So this will be the Learn TV launch celebration. Awesome. I think I will be co-hosting with Brian tomorrow, I believe, and then on Thursday. But this is going to be, I think, on Twitch. Awesome. Well, we have less than 2 minutes. I don't think I'm going to be able to answer all the questions you have right now. So just a quick recap of everything we did today. Please let me just do this on full screen. Continue our learning path. Just go on into learn and explore things. See how everything goes on, see what you like, and try to learn things a bit better. Try to get deep into things and try to reach out for the most of your potential, because I know you all have it. And try the certifications program. This is very cool. Please share your feedback. Just go to aka.ms/mybuildevolves. And don't forget to share this feedback. You can find anyone over here. You can find me, and you can find everyone on the Cloud Advocate directory. If you want to just ask anything or ask directly, just send something to us. We'll be ready to answer. And thanks again, everyone, for coming in. And I hope you have enjoyed this. Okay, so I think I will be going soon. Good work. Thank you. Thanks a lot. If I were to update my WordPress site with custom code, how can you do that? You can drop inside of your app service plan. You can do this. You can edit the application from within, from the console, like I showed before. Thanks, everyone. And this is it. Bye-bye.